welcome back to my channel and welcome to another video. Today is one I'm so excited for. So I recently started reading ARCs for NetGalley, which is a website where publishers will list advanced reader copies of books that are coming up for publishing and you can request them. I've been really lucky to get some ARCs I've really wanted through NetGalley, so really exciting times. And one of the books that I got approved for recently is Kiss the Girl, which is the third book in the Meant to Be series, which is basically rewrites, is sort of bringing the Disney princesses into modern day stories. And I haven't read If the Shoe Fits or By the Book. So I don't know whether these books are connected in any way, but I own both of the first two books anyway. So I thought, well, it would be a really good idea to read these before I read Kiss the Girl anyway. So I thought I could prioritise them and read them all this week. If the Shoe Fits is the first one, and this one is written by Julie Murphy. So I'm going to guess it's steamy, having read Merry Little Meet Cute by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone, but we'll see. But this one is the Cinderella retelling, hence the ears, the jersey. I don't own a Cinderella jersey, so I'm wearing my Aqua Arundel one, which doesn't really go with the ears, but I don't feel like I have something else suitable to wear. So I apologise that we are not very matchy-matchy for Cinderella, but we will be better matching for the other ones. I have really cute outfits for the other two. I picked up this book when I was in Florida. I will include a link to a video in the cards of me talking about getting this book, because it's this super silly story about how I thought that this book was like not for sale and was just like there in the shop that was in the hotel we were staying in Disney World, and it was for sale. So but it's just, I tell it better in that video, so go watch that before coming back and watching this. But yeah, I got this one from Florida. It does mean that the edition is massive, like if we compare it to the UK paperback of By the Book. So irritating. But anyway, I keep my books in colour code on my shelves anyway, so it's not like it matters that the series will be different sizes. But it will be really fun to get to this because I bought it while I was in Florida, so I'm really excited to read this. I will then be reading By the Book by Jasmine Guillory, which is the Beauty and the Beast one. So excited. And then I will be reading Kiss the Girl by the author. I can't remember because I don't have the physical copy in front of me, but I'll put it on the screen. But Kiss the Girl is the Ariel retelling. So that's going to be the plan for this vlog. Kiss the Girl comes out on the 3rd of August. So this vlog will unfortunately go up after that, but hopefully not too far after that. Hopefully I'm not going to miss too much of the buzz. So as I say, first up I'm reading If the Shoe Fits by Julie Murphy, the Cinderella one. I should also say where my ears are from, but I cannot think where these ears are from. I will try and find the shop that I got these Disney ears from. These ones are quite old now. They do have lights somewhere. I don't know if I can like easily turn them on. I love them. They're a bit like tall. I'm not sure if I've ever worn them in a park, these ones. But yeah, and as I say, this is the Aqua Arundel jersey. I got this December 2019. So I've had this one a while. But so it's actually Frozen themed, but we'll ignore that for the purposes of this video. So I'm not going to reread the blurb for this one so that I kind of go in fresh face and I'll update you about 100 pages in. But I believe this one is about Cindy being plus size and her going on a reality show when she isn't necessarily expecting it, or she decides to go on it and then get some backlash for going on it. I have to say, as a curvy person, I actually don't enjoy reading stories where curvy people are being attacked for being curvy. I would rather being curvy is not the entire defining thing about a person. So I don't know how I'm going to feel about this. And it's why I was a bit on the fence about buying it at the time. But I figure still it would be good to read it. It's still on my physical TBR and this is the perfect time to do so. So I'm going to start reading this and I will update you about 100 pages in to let you know what I think and what it's actually about. I'm not sure we've ever done this angle before, but everything is just so chaotic in here because the builder is coming tomorrow, which is just so exciting. And so everything is down in the conservatory now. So anything that wasn't here already is down here. And tonight we have to dismantle our bed and sleep on a mattress downstairs. The concerning thing with this is that our bed is an IKEA bed that Stuart's had for ages and it's pretty broken already. We don't think it's going to go back together. So even though we can take our mattress back upstairs once the work's done, we will not have a bed. And I think we're going to need new carpet, and so I just think this is going to be a many-month process. But until the work is done, we kind of don't, like, until they've done the first step of the wardrobe, we don't know what the situation is going to be. So I'll update you. But I have come in to let you know that I am, how many pages am I into this? 98 pages, so just under the 100 mark of If the Shoe Fits. Do you know what? I'm enjoying it a lot more than I thought I was going to do. So to give you a bit of an overview about what this is about. So we have Cindy. She's just graduated and she had a bit of a rough time for the end of university. Her mum passed away when she was about 10 years old and her dad passes away while she is at university. She's kind of repressing a lot of this and then it all comes out in her final year. She really struggles. She barely scrapes a pass. She really doesn't know what to do with herself when she finishes uni. So she moves back home to move in with her stepmom. In this version, at least to the point that I'm reading, her stepmom Erica is a good person. We don't have the like really kind of anti-stepmom. We have a lovely stepmom with lovely stepsisters as well, Anna and Drew. So that's for Anastasia and Drusilla. And they do have the last name Tremaine as well. So fun. I love all like the Easter eggs for the Disney movies. It's so fun. So Cindy moves back with them and Erica is the producer of a reality show called Beyond Midnight, which is very similar, not Love Island, but like The Bachelor. So you basically have one man or woman who are looking for a partner and there are like 20 to 24 contestants fighting for their attraction. So Erica is the producer of this show and her like junior assistant says that she thinks that Cindy would be really great on the show, as well as Anna and Drew. Producer then drops the bombshell to Erica that 2 of the contestants have dropped out. They need to fill 2 of the spaces and Erica decides that Anna and Drew can go forward for it. The production assistant also thinks that Cindy would be a really good choice. Cindy is plus size and so the production assistant thinks that it would be really good for American television to have somebody plus size go on this program. Cindy is not sure, but she is looking for a way into the business. She makes really beautiful shoes, of course, for a living, but obviously she's only just graduated university. She doesn't really know how to break into the industry. She doesn't have any connections, so getting on TV and promoting her shoes would be a really good way for her to do that. So Cindy decides, actually, yeah, I am going to do it. Erica is really against it. She thinks there's going to be a lot of negative press, but Cindy decides to go on it anyway. And the part that I'm at is Cindy having kind of just started on the show. The other part of this is that when Cindy was flying to Erica's at the beginning of the book, she meets a guy on the plane who she doesn't know the name of, but they hit it off. He wants to sit with her. Clearly there's like a little bit of interest there, but they don't swap numbers or anything like that. I think Cindy just does not think that this guy could be interested in her, and he does not particularly put himself forward. But when she arrives, guess who is the Prince Charming on the show? It's Henry. So what we're trying to figure out now is like what this is going to mean for Henry and Cindy. They already know each other. Henry clearly likes Cindy. So what's that going to mean if he's like prioritizing her on the show? Some of the people on the show are like really catty as well. They're like models and actresses and they do not believe that Cindy should be on this show. Addison, the really mean one, has made a comment already kind of saying to Cindy, like, you're really brave to go on this show. So it's going to be really interesting. I think it's going to be quite a tough read, but you know what? I'm really enjoying it. Julie Murphy is a really, really good writer. And I think she writes plus size characters really well. I read Merry Little Meet Cute by her and Sierra Simone earlier in the year. And whilst it wasn't my favourite thing I've ever read, I do think that it was really well written. And I do think that the characters are really well represented. I just wasn't really sure about the story for that one. But I'm really interested to see where the story goes in this one. I'm enjoying it so much more than I thought I would. So I'm really excited to carry on reading. So yeah, I'm about a third of the way through. Not even quite a third. I struggled a little bit with reading yesterday. It was just so hard to settle down. And sometimes I get like this where I feel like I'm not deserving of a break. So my therapist has said I'm not allowed to work over my work hours this week, which is really hard because it's getting into our really busy time at work. But all the work I do that is busy for them at this time is for other people. It's not even, doesn't even really help my team. So I am trying to be really strict with myself. So I finished work about 5 minutes late, which is quite good for me. And then I've made some brownies because we have a work social tomorrow. So I thought I would make some brownies. So I'm going to go and check that they're done. It's a really good recipe. It's by Fit Waffle and it's quite an old recipe, but they're so good. Most of the brownies that she does have Nutella in them, but we're not allowed to make anything with Nutella for work. So these ones are just like fudgy ones. They have like 3 different types of chocolate chips in them. And I made them last week, but I made them for a vlog that is going to go up way after this one. So it's a shame because you won't see that. And I didn't film me making these ones, but they're so good. Everyone really loved them. So I thought I would make them again for the social. And brownies are such an easy make because you just, you know, bung all the ingredients in, mix it up, stick them in the oven, and then once they're done you don't have to like wait for them to cool and then ice them or decorate them or anything. So I really like that about brownies. Very low maintenance bake. So yeah, I've done that, and then I will make some dinner at some point, and then, as I say, Stuart and I are going to have to destroy our bed. So I'm going to try and read for a little bit, just so that I've had a little bit of me time, because I think it's going to take the majority of the evening to like resettle ourselves in the living room. And then I think I'm probably going to feel quite stressed because we're going to be in the living room on a mattress, you know, it's not going to be ideal sleeping arrangements for the next few days. So yeah, I'm going to go and spend some time reading this, and I'll probably check in with you now when I finish the book, but we'll see if I check in with you before. Little update for you at the end of day one, friends. It looks so different. It was so interesting because I just found the vlog, which was my very first vlog on this channel, where I spoke about us. We had sharps come over to talk about whether like something could happen in this space, and it was such an unhelpful meeting because we hadn't had the building work done, and that was November 2020. That is how long we have been waiting for this work to happen. So exciting. So yeah, they're going to come again tomorrow, but I will be in the office tomorrow, so Stuart will be dealing with it. So I want to give you guys an update today because I won't get any updates tomorrow, but I think they'll finish it tomorrow. Very efficient and speedy. I just turned this camera on and realised how truly terrible I look. I did not sleep well last night, and that is like 6 nights of sleeping badly. I think it was probably because we were on that mattress on the floor, and I don't ever sleep well if I'm in a new bed, but I think also there's something about being on the floor where you like don't have a headboard behind you that, I don't know, just don't like it. I woke up so many times, and so yeah, I worked from home today even though I wanted to go into the office because it was a department social. What was the point of making those brownies? But unfortunately I just, yeah, couldn't do it. I thought I was going to take the day off sick, but I only finished like about an hour early, if that, because I actually worked like from really early. So it was a productive day, it's fine. But anyway, after work I finished If the Shoe Fits by Julie Murphy, and I did enjoy this. It wasn't what I expected. I think it kind of is trying to do a lot of things and maybe doesn't do all of those things outstandingly. Like, it wants to be a romance, which it is, but I personally felt a tiny bit on the outside of Cindy and Henry's relationship. It also wants to be a social commentary on being fat, but it doesn't, like, Cindy is always protected from what happens on social media. Like, there's a lot of reference to the fact stuff is happening on social media, but it's constantly referenced that there is noise about her happening, but she doesn't ever read what that is. And whilst I'm grateful for that, I almost then don't necessarily need it mentioned if we're not then going to explore it. I do like that there was an angle about Cindy being really popular and that being something people wanted to see on TV. So that's really so I really like that element of it. But I felt like more of it was trying to angle to be like, there's negative media happening, but we're not shown ever what that negative media is. I also feel like we have an underexplored relationship between Cindy and her stepsisters and Cindy and her mum. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more development with that. And this book is how many pages? Like literally just under 300 pages. And it's trying to do a lot of things. It's trying to get across a lot of plot. And it also is not steamy, which I was disappointed by. I guess being a Disney book, it can't be steamy, so I should have predicted that. But I almost then think it's a kind of underserved closed door romance. Like, we don't actually get a lot of time of Cindy and Henry together because of the nature of the like dating show aspect. And so that's kind of why I felt like on the outside of their relationship. So I was going to rate this 4 stars, but now I talk about it, I think it probably is a 3.5. But I did actually genuinely enjoy it more than I expected. And I really do think Julie Murphy is a fantastic writer. I really enjoy her writing. So I think that like element of it is really fun. and I think this is a really interesting retelling. Like it very loosely focused on the Cinderella elements, but it like drops them in a way that you're kind of looking for the next Easter egg, which is really fun. So yeah, I enjoyed it more than I thought, but maybe it wasn't kind of as like top tier as I thought it would be. But it's a very complimentary 3.5 stars in many ways, which I appreciate. I'm being a bit like all over the place. So somewhere between 3.5 and 4 stars. But that's another book done. And this is book number 70 of my books of the year. So I kind of can't believe that. The fact that I read like 55 books all of last year, and then this year I've read 70 by the 2nd of August or whatever day it is like so exciting. But that also does mean we are moving on to the second book in this reading vlog, which is going to be By the Book by Jasmine Guillory. So this series does have a different author every time. So this time it's Jasmine Guillory. I haven't read anything else by Jasmine Guillory, and this is the Beauty and the Beast retelling. I actually picked this one up without realizing it was the second in this series. I just saw it and looked at the cover and was like, that looks like a Beauty and the Beast retelling, I'll get it. And obviously I was right, but yeah, I didn't realize that it was part of the same series. But fun that I have it. So I don't remember anything about this book. I think he is a writer and is like failing to get his book out, and she works for a book publishing company, and so she has to go and hang out with him to like get him to put his book out. So it's still got that like Beauty and the Beast kind of grumpy sunshine elements. So, but I'm not going to read the blurb so I don't spoil myself. I can just, you know, go straight in there with it. And we're looking at another sort of 300 pages, so not too bad. I just hate that I have different editions of this. It just looks so silly. But anyway, it's fine. But yeah, published by different people, because like UK publisher, US publisher, I guess, unless they change publishers partway through. But yeah, I'm excited to get to this. I'm not going to read any more this evening because my bestie Elliot just messaged me to say that Celebrity MasterChef is back today at 9 PM. And I love Celebrity MasterChef. I don't like normal MasterChef. I'm not interested in people who are good at things, being good at things. I'm interested in people that are rubbish at things, not necessarily getting better. It's like the same reason I like The Apprentice. And I only really like the early episodes of this kind of show where there's like loads of people and it's kind of chaotic. I'm not really necessarily interested in finding out who wins. So I'm gonna go and watch that. I have been pulling stickers for some Plan With Me's. I pulled 4 Plan With Me's worth, and I have done both the weeks of the cruise, which is so exciting that I will be able to do those Plan With Me's. So really happy about that. I do have 2 more where I have like sticker paper that I could stick onto it. But I think I'm starting to feel rubbish again. Like obviously I woke up this morning feeling unwell. That's why I was working from home. And I have to go in tomorrow. And so I think I need to go and just rest. So I think I might just lie like on the mattress bed and watch Celebrity MasterChef and just try and like wind down a bit. One of the things I need to get better at is sleep hygiene. I have such vivid dreams, and I was looking online about like how to get rid of vivid dreams, and it's just like all the same things as like would fix all my life things. Like don't be so stressed and don't be so anxious and have a better sleep routine. It's like all these things I'm just rubbish at. So I'm gonna go do that, and then I will check in with you. Hopefully I'll read this on the commute tomorrow, so then I can check in with you tomorrow evening, because still will be a game, so I'll have some time tomorrow evening.
We want you to cook a dish where your ingredient is the star of the show.
Update for you friends. So we definitely have no cupboard here. This is so crazy that this was a door. Mad. And then through here, this was also a door. So that's totally crazy. This is from where the dado rail was. We have dado rail. I wasn't in shot there. This is where we have dado rail. So you can see we have dado rail like all around the room. So I think they are going to find dado rail from next door and put it there or something. But yeah, so full wall there. It's very interesting because Stuart was saying he doesn't actually think our rooms are painted. He thinks it's just like literally just plaster. So I don't know. We'll see. So anyway, that's that. And then this is the first time I'm seeing it. Oh my God, look how big our room is. It's so echoey. Oh, it's crazy. So they've like built in that's really cool because those are some pipes there. So they've like built all of that in. And yeah, they've like done all the walls. Obviously there's still some stuff to do, but then it's going all the way back here. And then that's where the wardrobe was. So we definitely need new carpet because that's a very ugly carpet that was under there, but that's okay because we kind of knew that this carpet's not the best anyway. So we always knew we might need some, but obviously he's still going to come back in a couple of weeks and finish up.
but he's done enough in here that means we can move our mattress back in here. The room is so much bigger. So we're not really sure where we're going to put the bed because Stuart would like it along this way, but what I'm concerned about is it being in the way of the door, because the door obviously goes, it's not a very wide room. Like, this is not a big bedroom. So I'm not sure one will actually fit that way. I think it's going to need to go this way, and then the wardrobe will be over here. I almost don't want to put a wardrobe back in. You know, I would like it to just be this big. But obviously we need somewhere to put our clothes. But yes, very exciting. So he's going to come back in a few weeks to finish it, but at least we can sleep in here for now. That's like the main thing. Hi friends, it's Sunday now. This has been a little bit of a mess of a vlog thus far. Reasons for that are just been an emotional week, not for a particular reason other than being a woman and having hormones sucks, but it's also been very busy. Thursday, I don't remember what happened, why I didn't vlog. I remember showing the room, and I would have been here on my own. I think I just ran out of time. I think I was reading, but I think I reached my 100 pages of this book in the bath, and then it was like bedtime. I went to the bath really late. Oh yeah, because my Stanley Cup leaked on the mattress that was on our like living room floor while we were sleeping down here. It was in my work bag. My work bag fell over. And then I wasted like, well, not wasted, but I spent half an hour hair drying the bed so that it was dry before we went to bed. So I didn't go in the bath until like 10 o'clock. So yeah, everything just ran late. And then on Friday, we had the day off, which was nice. We went to go and see Oppenheimer, which I really enjoyed. I understood about 2/3 of it. I feel like the issue with those films is they're like packing in so much that it's just a lot to take in. But we did really enjoy it. We saw it at the BFI IMAX. So like, super big, you know, amazing screen. Then we went to a murder mystery dinner evening. Basically, they've like turned this old disused station under railway arches into like a murder mystery dinner experience. So there's like a fake train that you get on, you have like a 4-course meal, and they do a sort of murder mystery show around it. It wasn't quite what we were expecting, but it was really fun. It's very silly. If you like quite silly humour, then I think you will enjoy it. The food was really nice. I think the only sort of thing, we thought it might be a bit more like you have to try and solve the murder, but there was like no requirement to solve the murder. And there was like a newspaper prop a couple of tables had, but apparently you had to pay extra for this newspaper, but nobody told us this at any point. We weren't even offered to be able to buy it, although frankly for the amount we paid, I think it should have been free. But it meant that we were quite hung up on the fact we didn't have the paper, and the answer to who did it was in the paper, but then there was no obligation to solve it. There was no competition. You weren't trying to figure out who did it. So, or at least we weren't on our table with the other couple we got sat with. So I'm not really sure what would have been the benefit of having paid for the paper. But anyway, the overall experience, the staff were very nice. The food is very nice. So, you know, overall, I do think it was really fun. So if you like something a bit different in London, then that could be a good option for you. Then yesterday, Saturday, was just, I don't know if anyone else has very, very bad days that are in the lead up towards their period, but I do. And yesterday was just terrible. I probably cried the entire day, pretty much, on and off. But yeah, I don't need to go into it, but it's fine. It's Sunday now, and I have rehearsal today, which means I'm up early. so that I can practice for rehearsal. It's like a 6-hour rehearsal today, which is a lot, but should be good. I'm sure we'll get a lot covered. But yeah, I'm about to practice for it, but I have finished by the book. So I thought that I would come on here and give my thoughts. So firstly, I apologise for the fact I didn't check in with this book at all. As I said, it just, when I was reading it, just didn't fall at a time when I could vlog. So I thought I would just persevere. It's like an under 300 page book. So I thought I would just persevere and finish it and then give you my updates fully at the end. So I don't think I've actually told you what this book is about either. So we have Izzy, who works for a publisher's. She feels really overlooked at the publishers. She feels like she's not treated very well. She really wants to be promoted. She's worked there for 2 years, but she feels like her boss just doesn't see her, doesn't believe she's kind of capable of doing anything there. And then there's a guy called Gavin, who is the representation of Gaston, who is sort of putting her down as well. They have a celebrity called Beau Towers, who is supposed to be writing a memoir for them, but they've been waiting like 2 years or something for this memoir, and it just isn't coming. And Izzy's boss kind of offhand one day says that she wishes that one of them could go down there and kind of sort Beau out and force him to write the memoir. And Izzy, in this kind of act of desperation to prove that she is better than they think she is like, I can do it, I'll go. So she goes to stay with Beau to basically talk him through writing the memoir. Beau appears really rude, standoffish, not really like somebody you want to sort of stick around with, but Izzy sees something in him, so she decides to stay anyway and to persevere and get this memoir written. So that's the sort of overall premise. Right, Stuart just came downstairs, so I got interrupted while filming this, and I've since changed my hair and stuff. But anyway, my thoughts on this book. So it's obviously a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I feel like that works okay. So I like some of the updates in terms of like the reason being that Izzy stays at the house to help Beau with the book. It gives that kind of actual reasoning for her staying at the house, and it doesn't have, they've updated the language so it doesn't have the same issues around like being a prisoner or feeling trapped there. She's welcome to leave. She does leave and comes back at various points. So I feel like those parts will work really well. I think though, it more than the Cinderella one, this one feels like the Beauty and the Beast parts are really like forced into the story. Like Mrs. Potts is somebody called Michaela, whose nickname is Kettle, and that just doesn't work that well. And then she wants to buy a dress that will make her look like a tea cozy, and there's sort of these bits that are like thrown in, that whereas in the Cinderella one it felt kind of effortless that these Easter eggs were intertwined, this one there was a lot more mentioning of them. For example, the publishing house is called Taylor's Oldest Time and things like that. And I just felt like, maybe it's because Beauty and the Beast is like my favourite movie of all time, not even just my favourite Disney movie, that the references were just forced and a little bit cringy. That was why I didn't enjoy this one as much. I think also, and I really don't like to say this, but I don't particularly like the writing in this one. I don't think it works for me. I'm so confused as to who these books are for because they read young YA, to be honest. Both of them have. This one even more so than the last one. But we have a fair amount of working up towards making out. We have sex scenes hinted at, but kind of loosely. So I think in the main, this one you could have a maybe like 16-year-old kind of age read this. So a sort of younger YA, I guess. Like older than middle grade, but a younger YA. But I think there are better written YAs out there for that audience. But also there's a fair amount of swearing and it deals with some quite adult themes. So, and it feels to me, I think like these are supposed to be adult books. I don't think they're supposed to be YA, but the writing just doesn't read adult to me. I also felt like we had a lot of repetition around kind of some of the wording, some of the thoughts went back and forward. It was quite contradictory. We had a lot of them talking about them smiling at each other, and there was an awful lot of smiling at each other. As much as I did find like when Izzy and Beau did have those moments when they were getting together, I did get those like moments because ultimately I'm a Beauty and the Beast fan. So I think I was probably always going to be like, oh, I like it when they get together. And ultimately I always like that part of romances in the main. But I just felt like with this one, there was a lot of repetition, or there was contradictoriness. So like Izzy would say things like, I've always spoken my mind with Beau, and then we have the third act drama where she doesn't, and you think you've worked up all this way to you two being really good communicators, and now you're just not going to communicate with him. So I just think it needed a little bit more thought put into it. I think it just needed maybe another round of edits or something like that. And I think part of what also didn't really help is that this whole book is about publishing and about two people writing, becoming authors. And for the writing to then not necessarily work, or to not feel like it had been edited enough, almost made it more obvious that maybe the writing wasn't quite working. So yeah, unfortunately I only gave this one 3 stars. I mean, I love the cover, but I only gave this one 3 stars, unfortunately. But you know, I think if you like Beauty and the Beast and you are really looking for Beauty and the Beast Easter eggs, I think this one could work for you. If you're not bothered about no steam in your romance, and if you are not somebody who necessarily leans too much into liking a writing style, then it might be that you would get on absolutely fine with this one. So that does mean that I have finally come to the arc that I need to read for this video, which is Kiss the Girl. So these books are all by different authors, and so Kiss the Girl is by a different author, so I'm really interested to see what I think of that one, because they do all bring something slightly different to the books, even if all the books kind of approach in the same way. I have no idea what Kiss the Girl is about. Obviously it's the Little Mermaid one, but I have no idea what it's about. I think they are musicians, I believe, based on the cover, but I'm really interested to see what I think of this one. But for now, I need to now go and rehearse before my rehearsal. But I'll hopefully start the book when I get back today. I'm in desperate need of some downtime, so I will try and read a bit when I get back and give you my thoughts, hopefully, on this one before I finish it. Hello from our bedroom. I actually kind of like it. I don't know, it's simple, you know, there's like just such little stuff in here. I kind of like it. But anyway, I have started reading Kiss the Girl. Because it's an arc, it's less clear how many pages I am in, and because I'm on my Kindle, but I'm like 47% of the way through. So probably over 100 pages. So I figure it's time to give you an update. I have devoured this so far. I absolutely love it. So to give you some context on the story, I think all of these books have a really unique take on the story, and this one is no different. So Ariel is part of a singing group with her 6 sisters, and her dad is a really like manipulative, controlling person. He like runs everything about their lives. Much more severe than Triton is in the Disney cartoon, and they are doing like a goodbye tour, which they've been doing for 2 years, and the agreement is that all the sisters will then be able to have a break for a year, but Ariel is convinced by her dad that she should go solo for that year. She's the kind of shining star, and she doesn't want to do it. She agrees to sort of protect her sisters and them being able to have this freedom for a year. She kind of sneaks out with her sister and her personal assistant for like one last night of freedom before this announcement is going to come out that she's actually going to be going solo, not that she's going to be taking a year off. And she meets Eric, who is also a musician. She saves his guitar from being stolen, and to sort of pay her back for that, he lets her come and watch his gig in the VIP area. He asks her out for that evening. They have this like amazing night out in New York, and he offers her a job to come and join him on his tour as their like merch person, basically. And she's like, I definitely can't. He doesn't know who she is. He thinks her name is Melody, which is the name of her daughter in Little Mermaid 2, which is, in my opinion, even better than Little Mermaid 1. So that was just felt like, I don't know, the Easter egg for the true fans. Like, if you haven't watched the Little Mermaid 2, it is so good. The music is so good. I love the Little Mermaid 2. It's like my second favourite film after Beauty and the Beast. Anyway, yeah, Eric doesn't know who Ariel is. He offers her a job on them doing the merch for his band, but she's like, I can't leave my family. I can't like can't leave. But they stay out all night, and she's gonna go back, and she like goes back in the morning. She said to Eric she can't do it, but she ends up in a massive fight with her dad. She misses the basically reveal that she's going to be doing this solo tour, which is sort of the equivalent of her missing the concert in the film. She has a massive argument with her dad, and so she decides to run away and go on the tour with Eric. I won't kind of reveal too much more than that, because I think part of the like joy of this is kind of not knowing. There are lots of characters that are kind of sprinkled in, but in different ways from the original. But you know, we've got Ursula, we've got Vanessa, we've got Max, we've got Scuttle, and we've obviously got the sisters as well. We've got Sebastian, and I just feel like this one adds them in a way that just feels so effortless. It doesn't feel like we're working on like a Little Mermaid retelling. It just feels like we are just like dropping in normal characters. I'm flying through it. I love it so much. I can really feel Eric and Ariel's like sizzling tension here, and we've got into forced proximity romance now. I love that. this author is so, I love their work. I need to go and find what other books they read, because just the way that this author writes is so the kind of romance I like. I don't want to like jinx it, but this is giving me 5-star vibes right now. So I'm going to, it's about 10, so I'm going to go on Sunday. So I'm going to go and just read some more. I don't think I should finish this today, but I feel like we're going to get into those, like, one of those situations where I want to stay up till like 2 AM finishing the book, but my eyes are already tired. So I'll probably finish this tomorrow, but I just had to tell you how much I'm loving it before I go and read some more of it. So I'm going to go do that now, and I will check in with you probably tomorrow evening when I finish this book. Excuse the fact that my hair is just crazy, and we have the very bright additional kitchen lights on because it was really poor quality in here until I switched them on. So we're going with this. But I have just finished Kiss the Girl by Zoraida Córdova, and I gave it 5 stars. I knew it. I loved it. Honestly, I loved it so much. So I feel like I've probably said everything I need to say about this so far, and I'm very tired. So I'm going to give you my very concise thoughts, but I really think you should read this book. It just consistently stays with the story. I loved the changes to the typical Little Mermaid story. We have some twists and turns in here that you maybe see coming, but that are different to the original story. And I really liked that this was very much not trying to just recreate the original. It had little Easter eggs of Little Mermaid stuff in there, but was really trying to be its own thing, which I just really liked. And I really loved both the characters, like both Ariel and Eric are just so likable, and you're really rooting for them to get together, and you learn so much about their lives and about this like cast of characters around them. And there are so many characters. Obviously Ariel is one of 7, and you've got her dad and stuff, and then you've got Eric and you've got his like band of misfit people that are around him, and it's just, you really feel you know all the characters even though there's so many of them. And yeah, I just enjoyed this so much. And because it's a Disney book, it doesn't have steamy scenes, but it, as with the other two, leads towards steamy scenes, but it is a closed door. But I feel like with this one, it was the most well written in that sense. It was the one that I felt most addressed the closed door romance in a way that meant I wasn't bugged by it, because as you've seen from the first two, I do get a little bit bugged sometimes if I feel like the book would have benefited from including the steamy scene, but in this one I felt it was fine. I can cope with the closed door romance, people, if I feel like it's written well. I really felt like this one was. I just enjoyed this so much. So yeah, definite 5-star read for me. I really enjoyed it. So I enjoyed it the most out of the 3. I'm so gutted that I enjoyed By the Book the least, but I'm really, really pleased that I enjoyed Kiss the Girl so much. What is so interesting though is I was like, right, Zoraida Córdova must be some like romance author that I've never heard of. I'm gonna go and like binge all her backlist. And she doesn't even really write romance. That's what I find so crazy. She mostly writes Star Wars books, so clearly she writes for Disney. But yeah, I mean, I like Star Wars. I would be interested to read her other stuff. She mostly writes like YA and middle grade fantasy, so I would be interested to read her other stuff. But then I was like, how can you write this so well? Clearly such a good writer. So my order for these would be Kiss the Girl, then If the Shoe Fits, then By the Book, which I am really sad about, because like By the Book is the Beauty and the Beast retelling. It's the one I thought I would love the most, but I think that's also just linked to I have the highest expectations for that one, as it is my favourite. Little Mermaid is my second favourite Disney movie, but it's like Beauty and the Beast and then everything else is always maybe going to be a little bit harsher. But I think also Zoraida's writing just really spoke to me. Just really liked the way she handled it. Another thing that I do want to address is that you do not need to be like me and you don't need to read these all in order. There is one mention of the Cinderella book in this one, but like it's so loosely, like if you hadn't read the first one you would just gloss over it. So you do not need to read all 3 if you don't want to. You could just skip to this one if you wanted to. The Girl was published on the 3rd of August in the UK, so if you do want to pick it up, it is out now. A huge thank you to NetGalley and the publisher for giving me a copy of this arc for free in exchange for my opinions. And as I say, I truly love this one. It's so lovely when you love an arc and you can like encourage other people to read it. So yeah, I think particularly if you're a Disney fan, particularly if you love The Little Mermaid, if you like any kind of music stories, I think you'll really like this one. But that is it for this vlog. I feel like this vlog's taken me a little bit longer than I wanted it to take. I've read a little bit slower than I intended to, and I've got a lot of arcs on my list that I need to get to. Also, Stuart is really catching me up on the Greenbone Saga series. He's finished Jade City and has moved on to Jade War, and I'm only like 30% into Jade Legacy, and he's going to overtake me. So I have a lot of reading to get done in August. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, I would really appreciate a like, and if you haven't already, I would love it if you could subscribe. In the description, I will have a link to this book if you do decide to purchase it. I will also have a link to my Goodreads and Instagram if you want to check out any other content from me. Otherwise, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.